Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, coming at you with another hot jam. Are you ready for it? From Cointelegraph, former U.S. Treasury head calls payment friction the best argument for crypto. Well, I'll be gosh darned. How about that? Crypto could actually be used for something instead of just speculation and, think about it here. What is the narrative that the Bitcoin maxi trolls like to push? Oh my gosh, Bitcoin for everything. You get a Bitcoin, and you get a Bitcoin, and you get a Bitcoin. Everybody gets Bitcoin. Yeah, well, except for the problem is you can't actually use it to spend anywhere, right? And even if you could, it's a little slow. It's a little bit costly. I mean, okay, I should be saying a lot of bit. It's a lot of bit costly. It's a fun relic that is best displayed in a museum. But that doesn't mean I'm not fond of it. I'm just kind of joking the way that I'm framing this a little bit, but it doesn't mean I'm not fond of it. I mean, obviously, without the beginnings there, you wouldn't have other cryptocurrencies like our beloved XRP here. But look at this. A recognition from a former U.S. Treasury head about specifically crypto being used for good, to fix payments. Because you know what, there is real friction there, and I've been a proponent for this concept for pretty much as long as I've been in crypto. Just the idea that this is the first use case that will actually take hold in a meaningful way, reducing friction in payments corridors. And ultimately, perhaps there will be a cryptocurrency that gets used in place of fiat, at least to some degree, even if not widespread over the entire globe. Because I don't believe there's going to be one world currency ever. There's too many different incentives that individuals and sovereign nations have, so I don't think that's going to happen. But I could see in some corners of the world, perhaps, a cryptocurrency or cryptocurrencies being used for that use case. But that would be far down. I mean, that could be decades from now, for all I know. Or if things blow up in a terrible and unforeseen way, perhaps that could expedite the process. Okay, fine. But the way it's looking now, not so much. So I'm going to run through this. And here's another interesting story that I saw. This was retweeted by a Ripple executive, senior vice president of so-and-so. I can't remember now. Was it markets or product? I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Anyway, it's Ashish Burla, one of Ripple's original employees. And so here's an article from Fortune titled, "Why America Won't Be Going Cashless Anytime Soon." So, people that are talking about a cryptocurrency, it's always Bitcoin, isn't it, replacing every fiat currency the world over, even though it's not actually solving a problem because there isn't that much friction with fiat currencies today for most people. Despite that, these maxis think that it's just going to take over. So before I bitch about that any further, if you would please delicately tap the like button. And also, if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, because if you do, we can be friends. Maybe even best friends. We'll see where this journey takes us. Shout out to Martin Valk here for tagging me, and here's what he wrote. He tagged me, wrote Moon Lambo, saying exclamation point in his YouTube videos. When I'm used to using exclamation mark, really steams my vegetables. Well, you know what I have to say to that, Martin? You are welcome. You know why? Because when you're doing your meal prep, you have one less step to take care of. Your vegetables are officially steamed, and you get to dinner even faster. So again, you are welcome, good sir. So here's the tweet from Ashish Burla. And he just wrote with a little emoji finger down what she said. And this is just in the United States. Data shows that nearly 60% of remittances, which is $570 billion total worldwide, are sent using non-digital methods. Cash is nowhere near dead. And so there's a writer named McKenna Moore, and she wrote, here's a string of tweets. I'm not going to go through all of the tweets. I'm just going to touch on a part of the article here, because I think you can get the gist of it. I'll explain it. But she wrote, working at Fortune magazine, I've read a lot of great journalism on fintech and new payment platforms. These are great, but some people think these advancements mean we're closing in on a cashless future. They're wrong. And so she titled her piece, "Why America Won't Be Going Cashless Anytime Soon." And I wanted to jump down to, I think, this part down here. Here we go. As the coronavirus pandemic ravages communities around the globe, the use of cash is raising concerns about cleanliness and viral transmission, even though the cotton that paper money is made of has been proved to carry virus particles for around the same time or less that plastic credit and debit cards do. And as digitization tightens its grip on the world, new technologies are popping up left and right to make paying for goods and services easier and more frictionless. By the way, on the front of credit cards, those better be gone at some point in my lifetime. At least the physical card itself. I don't think credit cards conceptually, what it is, I don't think that's going away. No, I don't. But if we could just get rid of those stupid little plastic things and maybe just have all that information in our phone. If we could have that identification, everything that you could possibly need, that would be fantastic. So that we don't even need to really carry wallets. That would be super duper. Look at this. Look at this vision that Moon Lambo has. I think I should be running for president here. Maybe I'll start my campaign up next week. Well, its use has certainly declined in recent years. Cash will likely never disappear, as those in the cashless movement would hope. Many cities like Philadelphia, San Francisco, and New York have recently passed legislation banning merchants from accepting only card and contactless payments. New Jersey passed a similar bill in 2019 on the state level, and cashless merchants have been banned in Massachusetts since 1978. Stories like this, I know that she's talking about fintech, but I think it's pretty clear that we're nowhere near to the Bitcoin maxi dream world where Bitcoin is used for everything. It'd be funny if you could snap your fingers and have that dream world that the Bitcoin maxis have today. They would be freaking miserable because it would shut down the global economy faster than the coronavirus did, seriously. Because the blockchain, it's just, no. And then can you imagine that? And then onboarding everybody on the planet and you can no longer use, it's not a thing. Anyway, there are many reasons experts list in arguing that cash must remain a viable payment option. Going cashless excludes the millions of unbanked and underbanked people in America. And it kind of goes on from there. So it's basically just the idea of the unbanked. It's the concept of, and she cited this too, actually, in her thread. It's kind of funny. She's like, what are you going to do when your kid loses a tooth? Is the tooth fairy going to Venmo some money or something like that? And so, look, I don't know that cash would ever literally go away. It just get to the point, I suspect, where it would be maybe a fraction of a percent of total transactions. Perhaps you can get to that point if you get people sufficiently banked. You get sufficient technological adoption the world over. You could probably get much closer to that. But sure, perhaps it would be for certain reasons. There would always be a certain amount in circulation, whether it's for novelty or cultural reasons, whatever it may be. But that thing about the tooth fairy kind of made me laugh. Shout out to XRP Crypto Wolf for sending this next piece over to me. And this is a fun one. Former U.S. Treasury head calls payment friction the best argument for crypto. Excuse me. In a June 25th interview, man, Moon Lambo having trouble here. In a June 25th interview with Circle's Jeremy Allaire, former Treasury Secretary Lawrence H. Summers talked about crypto's ability to pass up the modern financial system, particularly calling out the great difficulty in processing global payments. Somebody get me a lozenge. Could you get me a lozenge? Does anybody use that word? It's cough drop, right? Just who says lozenge? Tell you what, that word lozenge, it's really grinding my gears. Describing himself as falling between Bitcoin evangelists and high traditionalists, Summers was cautious about aligning himself with the more extreme use cases for crypto. Specifically, Summers dismissed arguments common in crypto about monetary collapse brought about by quantitative easing, as well as the need to maintain private transactions. I don't read existing currencies as being on their way to being debauched, he said of the former, while he seemed resigned on the latter point. And here's the quote: governments will want less financial privacy over time, and they will succeed in getting what they want. However, Summers pointed to examples of trying to send money to his son while studying abroad, or $3 fees at ATMs, as clear examples of speed bumps to a global system. Well, let me ask you, to you listening out there, who is it that has recognized this problem and is solving it today? Who is it out there creating the internet of value? And and really being the only adult in the room when it comes to real-world solutions about the train wreck that is the world of cross-border payments. There's only one company that's actually solving this problem in a meaningful way, because the only solution devised for the settlement portion, because there's a messaging portion which you can do with technology that isn't what Swift originally had in like the 70s. Better messaging, absolutely utilizing RippleNet, for example, but nobody else has a solution for the settlement portion of this. So how about that? But here's a quote from him. "I think the case for all of this innovation will lie in the fact that there is a ridiculous degree of friction in today's world around doing quite complex things. The friction isn't just coming from the greed of the middlemen, although there is greed among the middle people. It's coming from the various difficulties and challenges associated with mutual trust." Really, the only thing that I somewhat disagree with is just this concept of, middlemen purely being greedy. These are people that are operating businesses and employing people that could be your neighbors, they could be, your parents, they could be your sister, your brother, whoever. And it's not that they're necessarily ripping people off. It's just that they're part of the system required to make this work. If anything, you should be happy that they're there, because prior to a notable change, which Ripple's pushing for, there was no other way. I wouldn't bitch about it, because margins are what they are, and competitive forces push down price the world over. With rare exceptions, I understand that. No matter what industry you're talking about, there can be outliers and weird instances. I get that, but I'm not one to want to just bash on middlemen for the sake of it here. They're providing a valuable service, and now it is an extra cost, but then you get to have your financial transactions. So let's just be adult about this and not whine about a company making a profit for providing a service. Just my 2 cents. You can disagree, but you're wrong if you disagree, just saying. Anyway, currently a professor at Harvard, Summers was the Secretary of the Treasury under President Clinton. Despite the recent revelation from John Bolton's book that President Trump told current Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin to go after Bitcoin, the department's relationship to crypto is complicated. And so regardless, here's an acknowledgement that a genuine use case for crypto is to solve the train wreck that is the world of cross-border payments here, and there's only one crypto on the planet that is being positioned specifically to solve this, and is actually solving it in any detectable way today, and that is XRP. I think more people are going to figure this out as time passes, so I'm happy to be early to the party. How about you? I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything, because of anything that I say or write, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!